and click the link to start living the FreeFi life today. Just click the link and get 15% off now.
What's up, Kevin? What's up, Kevin? Hey, what's up, Abby? Adiel, good day. Stephanie, good morning. Taylor, good morning. Gustavo, good morning, man. There is Beatty, Angel, Wendy, what up? I'm gonna be getting some more coffee, but if y'all would like to start thinking about possible answers to the short answer question on the screen, we're gonna be dealing with maps and graphs today, because that will be one of your short answer sets. Hi, Mons, good morning. Oh, I'm not as tired as I could be, that's for sure. Gabby, good day. Abigail, your sister is really letting me down. She might lose AP History Legend status. Caitlin, you can keep your status. Oh, Natalie's here. No, Abigail, it's okay. You're still my favorite. Natalie lost that. She lost that privilege. I'm a BRB, folks. I'm gonna pour me a little bit more coffee. Speaking of the cafe vibe, and then we're gonna get started. One too many times. All right. I want to talk firstly about what your exam's going to look like. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's just do this instead. All right. So, what's up, Richard? So what's interesting about the exam this year, because it's going to be online, all right, they did make some adjustments to the sort of writing sections. All right, your first sort of writing section is going to be short answer. All right, what's interesting is they're going to give you 2 questions in 40 minutes. And so that's good news for some of y'all. Because in the past, they've required us to do 3 questions. Oh, sorry, I skipped a section. Here's the 3 questions in 40 minutes. Let me get to the other part. Oh, it's too early, guys. It's confusing this year because they have 2 short answer sections, which is, don't even get me started about confusion. It's like they like the section so much they make you do it twice. All right. So we're going to start with the multiple choice, 55 questions, 55 minutes. I think they'll have a built-in break of like 5 minutes. I'm not sure. Either after the multiple choice or after the short answer. All right. Your first short answer section, all right, is going to include a primary source text. Caitlin, I think they're worried that like the long essay prompts would be too easy to look up information to. because you could just basically Google evidence. And so I think because the short answer is based on like a stimulus, they're less worried about cheating. That's my guess, Caitlin. Although who knows? The College Board, they're just our overlords. We are merely peasants bent to their will. What can you do? So question 1 is required. It's a primary source text. Question 2 is going to be a map source. So we're going to look at some maps today. And then question 3 is going to be a primary source image. So that's a bit different in the past. There really haven't been a lot of primary source text. All right. But that's all, whatever. After the DBQ, so then you'll take your DBQ. They'll give you an hour to do that. DBQ is same old DBQ, 7 points, etc. Instead of another essay, they're going to give you 2 more sets of short answer questions. All right. And here's where it gets interesting. All right. One is going to be based on a data set. All right, like a chart, a table, a graph. And so we're going to look at examples of those today. All right. And then question 6 is going to be the secondary source text. We looked at that last week. Well, I guess 2 weeks ago. Remember, they'll give you like a historian's argument, and then you'll have to sort of make up evidence that supports the argument or contradicts the argument. But that's the general sort of structure of the exam. All right, we got 55 multiple choice, all right, and then 3 SAQs, primary map, primary image, all right, then 1 DBQ, and then 2 more SAQs, all right, a graph / chart / table, and secondary text. Historian interpretation. So that's a pretty good summary of your exam. All right. Today's the last day. We'll probably focus on short answer questions. I want to start moving on to like DBQ practice again. And so like starting next week, we'll probably look at 2 different DBQ prompts, one for APUSH, one for AP World, and we'll talk through strategies about how to do the DBQ. My hope is that I can get more participation, especially from you APUSH folks, because your exam is rapidly approaching. It is May 18th, I believe, maybe May 17th. Hold on, I can look that up. I don't know why we have to guess. We don't have to guess. Oh, I'm sorry. May 19th. Oh, look at that. You guys have an extra day. May 19th. You may ask yourself, why are we not taking it on June 2nd? I don't know. That's just the date that the district decided. May 19th. That's rapidly approaching. So I need to track down some of your classmates because we didn't work so hard in the fall just for us to drop the ball at the end. It's like all those videos of people tripping before the finish line. Alrighty. So when it comes to maps, y'all, the short answer question that's going to be on a map, it's probably going to ask you about patterns in the map. And it's going to ask you to explain probably something that contributed to patterns in the map or effects of patterns in the map. And so you can imagine the different types of topics that they might have maps for. I could see them having like trade route maps, expansion of empires, spread of religions, maybe a map of the Columbian Exchange. For you APUSH folks, I think like a westward expansion map. or maps of the United States right before slavery, or maps of the United States before the Industrial Revolution, railroad maps maybe. I'm trying to think of all different types of map questions they could ask. I think like obviously maps of trade routes would be pretty basic. I'd be surprised if we saw that because they have had examples like that in the past. But I do want to talk about how to tackle these map type questions. Now you notice they're going to always ask about patterns depicted. And so like for me, in order to answer these questions, we really need to identify or at least discuss a specific pattern of the map in our response. For you AP World folks, we had a map question on the Common Assessment, which we're going to go over in just a second. One of the bigger issues for student responses is we didn't refer to anything in the map itself. We didn't refer to anything specifically in the map. And so if they're asking us about patterns depicted, the first thing that we should sort of do mentally as we're attacking this question, that we only have about 12 minutes for, all right, but if you think about it, that's more than enough time to just sort of study a map and write a few sentences for each part. The first thing we want to do is just sort of identify patterns in the map. And that like really, like just literally, what is the map showing us? All right, so brainstorm, I'm thinking aloud. Maybe even jotting down notes, things that I notice in the map. All right, well, I notice, enslaved Africans from West Africa, it looks like, to Caribbean / Southern United States. I noticed sugar, all right, and slaves going from Caribbean to North America, all right. I see sugar and rice, silk, tobacco going from Americas to Europe. I see manufactured goods going from Europe to North America. All right. And obviously there's more, right? Guns and gunpowder going to West Africa from Europe and the Americas. All right. But that's the gist of it. All right. Oil, lumber, furs going from the Americas to England. So in my responses, I should see at least references to those patterns that we just sort of identified. All right. We would want to make just like in the short answer sets where we get like the author's interpretations, we want to refer to the author's argument. If we're giving a map, we want to refer to the patterns that we actually see in the map. Be explicit. All right, be explicit in your response. And so take about a minute, think about what might meet criteria for part A. And though this is an A-push question, you AP World folks should also be able to answer this question because we also studied this in AP World. So again, even though this comes from an AP US practice exam, it is actually very, very relevant to you AP World folks. We also discussed the transatlantic trade in depth, so you should be able to answer this as well. All right. Wait 3 minutes. Just type your response for now. I want to give plenty of people the opportunity to think and respond. All right. In the meantime, I'm going to take attendance. If you did not drop your name in the chat and you're sitting there listening, I see there's 18 of us watching. Make sure that you do. Oh, I need to do this on my screen, don't I? Oh, what up, Daniel? Again, if you're lurking, make sure that you say what's up so I can give you credit for being here. Oh, I'm missing two of y'all. Oh, Miley, there you go. I was like, someone's here not saying hi. Boom. All right, we good? Alrighty. Just part A. All right. What do we think? What do we got? Oh, Kaylin, I'm so glad you posted that. They weren't aired and dry though, so that's unnecessary extra information. It probably doesn't cost you the point, but like no need to put that. Actually, they tend to be more humid and sort of wet climates. Anyone else? Especially my AP World folks. There's a very specific economic system that contributed to the pattern that we see on this map. I'm going to get to Caitlin's in just a second. UA push folks should know this too. Just a FYI. So as Beatty, the transatlantic trade essentially is the triangle trade. Just a little bit of a different name, more precise perhaps. So that wouldn't necessarily explain what we're seeing here. Taylor, remove the question mark. Yes, mercantilism. We would have to explain that, but certainly mercantilism explains some of the things we're seeing on this map, because I see a lot of raw materials like lumber and other resources like sugar and wood going to, all right, yeah, you could say mercantilism, but that wouldn't be enough, y'all. Well, mercantilism does influence the silver trade as well, Natalie, but mercantilism is going to impact all trade. Because European powers, right, are looking to export, sell more than they import, and they're looking to use colonies as sources of raw materials and resources to help them accumulate wealth. And so you could certainly say that mercantilism leads to the development of patterns depicted here. You could certainly say the tobacco and sugar plantations. What you're discussing there, Caitlin, the establishment of rules and laws about that restricted trade, that would be an effect, which we'll get to in just a second. But this should be familiar, AP World folks. You're alarming me a little bit. All right, we did recently go over mercantilism. You know, for APUSH, it's been about half a year, so you guys had the advantage here. That would be an effect too, Kevin. But there's a problem with everyone's response right now. And we didn't necessarily hear what I said in the beginning. Ions is closer. So remember I said to start by identifying patterns in the map? Well, if we're going to have a complete explanation here, then we should have patterns in the map in our response. You need to demonstrate that you can correctly interpret, all right, a map. And so by simply saying things like, what was it, Caitlin's first one? Colonists were planting tobacco and sugar, which contributed to the emergence of this trade. That's not enough. Well, it might be, but you know how I feel about maybes, guys. Ions is getting closer with like the need for sugar means that, the United States began to import slaves. That's closer because that's at least a reference to something on the map. I would still push you guys to be super, super explicit just so that we can be sure that we're earning this point. And so, for instance, if we were going to go with like the sugar, the need for labor, due to demand for labor on sugar and tobacco plantations in the Americas, all right, colonies imported large numbers of enslaved Africans from West Africa. If you wanted to, all right, you could even say like along the Middle Passage because that refers directly to the map. But I'm gonna be sure that I identify a pattern. For instance, like mercantilism contributed to the transatlantic trade because European states saw colonies as a source of raw materials and a market for export, explaining why we see manufactured goods sent from England to North America and raw materials like lumber, cloth, and iron or wood sent to Europe. So that would be a complete response for part A. All right. Be explicit about what the map is showing you. Don't leave it up to sort of the person grading your response to be like, well, I think they understand the map. Like, they mentioned trade. I mean, so just make sure you're being very explicit about the patterns depicted in the map. If they're asking you about patterns depicted, you better identify a pattern depicted. All right, if that makes sense. All right, also never ignore the title of maps or graphs because they tell you a whole lot. I mean, I think we are familiar enough with the transatlantic slave trade to know that this is the transatlantic trade. But, you know, some maps might be a little bit less clear about what it's depicting, so make sure you take a close look at the title. All right, so if we're looking for an effect that resulted from this pattern, what might we say? Take about a minute or two to think about effects from the transatlantic trade. AP World folks, you can discuss effects on other parts of the world. APUSH folks, you should be telling me effects primarily on the United States, so just be aware of that. What do we think for effects? Ooh. Nuance, waiting for that one. Again, I would want us to be a little bit more precise there, like the caste system will emerge in the Americas, a race-based hierarchy, especially due to like the influx of enslaved peoples from Africa, something like that. But yeah, I'm there for that, Ions. That's definitely something we could talk about. Although the caste system is probably more relevant for my AP World folks. Shame, AP World. What else we got? They asked 2. B and C were for effects, so if you were doing this on an actual exam, you would need 2. Oh, you're trying to use mercantilism as an effect, Caitlin? I think you're more referring to mercantilist trade restrictions, Caitlin, so be careful there. That's technically what you're talking about there, which I'm there for. I totally agree with. Like colonists in the United States could only export goods to England. Yeah, you could certainly talk about the growth of the plantation economy in the southern United States, Stephanie. I'm there for it. Again, you would want to say maybe something like due to the demand for sugar, something that's going to refer to something in the map. Daniel, you're bringing up indentured servitude. So that could potentially work, Daniel, if we're talking about like migration or like even the Columbian Exchange. The migration of European immigrants to the United States, you're going to have to sell me about how that's related to the transatlantic trade. I'm not. Indentured servants were used on tobacco plantations and stuff, so you would need to make that connection for this effect to work, Daniel. Something about like demand for labor in North America led to indentured servitude. That could work. You would need to identify indentured servitude there, Daniel. I know that's what you're describing, but it would be better to definitely use that vocab. You'd have to sell me on that too, Kevin. Because the colonists in the Americas and the Europeans are both Christian. So you would have to adjust your explanation. AP World, folks, probably the most obvious effect that we could discuss has to do with what's happening in West Africa. We just studied that not too long ago. In my A-Push, folks, you can give me another effect. We don't really have too much right now. Again, this is an A-Push question, so for you A-Push kids that playing along at home, I want to emphasize that you would have to give me 2 for part B and C. I think as a class, we have 2 total right now. AP World, folks, I'm looking for an effect on West Africa. There's actually several we could bring up. Yes, okay, so laws that codified slavery. Yeah, that's a good one. You remember Virginia in particular, right? Passed laws that basically made slave status inherited and based on skin color. And so that's what Caitlin's referring to there. That is a great one to bring up. AP World, people, due to all of the millions of enslaved Africans being taken from West Africa, what are some effects of that? That would be like, this would actually in some ways be an easier question for AP World because you could discuss the impact of the trade on Africa. Yes, some states in West Africa did see I'm trying to think of the language the College Board uses. Lost authority, lost power, collapsed. Kevin, do you remember the specific empire in West Africa that suffered due to the slave trade? We read a source from there in class. Yes, weekend states. Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, do we remember one specifically? That's the same kind of question I asked Kevin. Starts with a K. Caitlin, quit showing off, okay? That was for AP World to get. Yes, the gender imbalance we could talk about. Or we could bring up polygyny, right? But yes, what I was looking for, AP World, was either the strengthening of West African states or the weakening. Remember, we looked at both. And Caitlin showing off old stuff from her AP World days. God, Caitlin, legend. Yeah, the gender imbalance. The fact that so many males were brought over instead of females. Ayuan is spot on. You could absolutely bring up the maroon communities. AP World, that's something we could have discussed as well. The fact that due to the increased presence of enslaved Africans in the Caribbean and North America, some slaves did eventually run away and form maroon communities. Yes, you could certainly talk about the blending of sort of culture, specifically religions, between enslaved Africans, sort of incorporating Christian ideas, but also to sort of protect their own religious and cultural traditions. So, hold on. Oh. Yeah, no problem, Ashley. If you join tutorials late, let me know so I can give you credit for being here. You don't have to be awkward about it, man. This is all, it's all extra. I'm happy you're here. Late, on time, it don't matter. All right, moving on. So this map is actually also adopted from an APUSH question. The questions are sort of APUSH related. Silver trade is going to be more AP World related. So, if you APUSH folks want to start looking through some of the resources I posted, that's fine. The sort of silver trade and the impact of the Spanish on the Americas is not a big part of the APUSH exam. But if you just want to stick around and watch AP World folks struggle, that's fine too. Maybe you can help. All right, let's take a look first at what this map is showing me. All right, it's showing me the primary flow of silver, 1570 to 1750. Remember, if we're asked about maps, we should refer to specific things in the map. Okay, so what do we notice about the flow of silver here? Just literal observations. Drop them in the chat. Throw them at me. What do we got? Where's the silver flowing? I'm a patient man, and I'm on a delay, so I'm going to forgive you guys. Well, yeah, it's coming from South America. And I think that would technically be Central America. I know parts of it are in North America, but I would just say Latin America. So we see that silver is leaving Latin America. It's going to places like the Philippines, Africa a little bit. More so, it looks like Asia and Europe. All right. So we see sort of silver leaving Latin America. If you really wanted to be precise, it looks like the city of Potosí in Colombia is in South America is pretty important. All right, so like that concept, some sort of reference to either Spanish America or other specific parts of the map should be identified here. They even show you where major silver mines are. There appears to be major silver mines in Central America, South America, and Japan. And that seems to be where silver is flowing out of. So make sure you refer to something specific for A. All right, I just want A in the next couple of minutes. All right, my apologies. I need to take a little bathroom break. So give it a few minutes. I'll ask for responses when I get back. I just want A though. If you want to start thinking about B and C, go for it. Alrighty. Caitlin, man, can you save some for the AP World kids? You are correct, though. What are some other things we could write about for A, y'all? Some of you on this call even earned credit for this on the common assessment, so don't be shy. There's actually several different things we could talk about in relationship to the Spanish. Yes, excellent, Wendy. All right, so just sort of bringing up how the Spanish found silver in Latin America or conquered societies in Latin America, and then it sort of allowed them to trade with states in Asia is like perfection. What else? Because A and B asked for both kind of causes here. What contributed to the emergence of this sort of trade pattern? A and B. So we got sort of the Spanish conquest, discovery of silver mines, allowing them to trade with Asia. So that's basically one idea, one development. Yes, Beatty, tell me more. Give me a complete response there. Yes, you got it. Why was there so much demand for silver? It is Caitlin. It is mostly for AP World, Caitlin. Yeah, Silver, very good. So we can talk about like the Ming Dynasty, all right, requiring silver for taxes led to growing demand, which explains why so much silver was imported to China. Good. All right, I do want to note, like, you could have talked about Columbus's voyage, like navigation technology, like the compass and astrolabe as well. That would have worked. All right, better ships. You would basically just need to make a connection that, like, hey, this allowed Europeans to reach the Americas and to trade over long distances, which allowed them to sort of export silver throughout Afro-Eurasia. Remember, you want to make a reference to something in the map. All right, don't leave it vague. All right, another thing that you could have talked about here for causes, guys, mercantilism. I'm going to review that AP World since apparently we keep forgetting about our friend mercantilism. All right, effects. All right, you could talk about inflation in Spain. You could talk about how demand for labor increases in China/India to keep up. All right. Cotton / porcelain / silk to exchange for silver. Other effects, increasing rivalries between European states, specifically, targeting Spain. Another thing, remember that Asian states like Japan and Ming China will begin to restrict trade with Europeans, all right, sort of suspicious of their increasing involvement, etc. All right, harsh labor systems in the Americas would also be in effect. All those things we could have mentioned there. Alrighty, this is an A-push question, but I chose it partly because, all right, my friends in AP World can answer this too. All right, remember, so one of our SAQs, it's actually the second short answer in our first SAQ section is a map. All right. The first short answer question in our second section is a graph or data set. So let's shift to that now. All right. The same tips and hints apply when analyzing data. All right. First, all right, make sure we read the title. All right, it says United States energy sources. On the left is 1850. On the right is 1900. Okay, cool. Second, make sure you identify patterns and trends first before you start thinking of the history. Part of them asking these questions is to see if you can interpret sort of graphs, maps, etc., and apply your historical knowledge to the graph. But the first step is just interpreting the information. So make sure you do that first. All right, and then you can start considering the questions in the history. All right, so what do we notice? What is sort of changing between 1850 and 1900? Like the questions are going to ask us about changes between 1850 and 1900. Just based on our initial interpretation, what do we see changing here between 1850 and 1900? Let's start there. That's always the first step. Not your question, man. Just, tell me what you see in the pie charts here. Yes, thank you, Caitlin. Yep, by 1900 we have oil and gas, which is new. Yes, says Beatty. So oil and gas wasn't around in 1850, but by 1900 it is. 1850, wood was the sort of major power source. In 1900, coal is the major power source. If we wanted to get super specific, we could say like wind and water power decreased, animal and human power decreased. No, ooh, Stephanie, no, that's not what the graph's showing us. You're answering the question. And be careful because so this is an A-push question, Ayuans, but this is another one of those questions that my AP World folks could probably answer as well. But this is from an A-push exam. Thus, the whole United States energy sources. Though AP World guys, I have seen similar graphs just with like world power usage. But so just be aware of that. Well, Stephanie, you might as well give me a complete response then, because you could discuss industrialization for Part A. Part A is asking for a specific historical event or development that accounts for changes in United States energy sources between 1850 and 1900. So complete that response for me. You might as well get us started, Steph. And if y'all saw this question on an exam, whether it be APUSH or AP World, you should be celebrating, because in my opinion, it's pretty easy. And AP World, folks, we are literally studying industrialization right now, so you should be able to answer A, B, and C. All right, looking for complete responses, y'all. Part A. What explains the change here? Someone explain that for me? I'm going to put on my music, man, because I can't take this silence. Machines, I think, is the word you want to use there, Caitlin. And then you would bring up what particular engine runs on coal. It's part of industrial innovations. Ions, that wouldn't be enough. We keep kind of making the same mistake here. Yes, there's a specific engine that runs on coal. Well, it'd be great if my AP World folks could get involved, because we literally have been studying this for the past week. Yes, thank you, Maeli. Yes, the steam engine. Not a trick question. So again, I want to emphasize, all right, if we were answering this question, all right, you would want to refer to the change in the graph. If you don't do that, I can't promise you'll earn the point. So if I'm going to bring up the steam engine, I'm going to say like steam engines in the locomotive was increasingly used after 1850. And because the steam engine runs on coal, we see the use of coal dramatically increase. All right? You know how I feel about that word, Ariane. All right? Again, you need to have a reference to the graphs. As Beatty I'm going to ask us, Beatty, because you brought up oil and gas. Do we remember what development leads to the use of oil and gas? There's a term for it. No, the locomotive runs the train. Well, I got a hint. The Industrial Revolution is broken up into parts. Oh, we don't remember our friend the Second Industrial Revolution. All right. And it's the internal combustion engine begins to run on oil and gas. Mm-hmm. All right, so if we were going to, obviously, for part A, all right, we would want to discuss industrialization, all right, or the steam engine. All right, that's definitely, or both, right? I mean, the steam engine is an innovation as part of industrialization. We start using machines to make goods, which require coal to operate. So we see a large increase in the use of coal. Again, all right, if you don't refer to a specific change for part A, I don't think you get the point. All right, so this is a mistake we've made multiple times even today. All right, if they're asking about a map or graph, all right, you need to refer to something specific in that map or graph. In this case, they're asking for changes in energy sources, so I should specify a change I see in the graph. Coal is dramatically increasing. Wind and water power is decreasing. Oil and gas is new in 1900. The use of wood is decreasing. You need to refer to something specific, all right? Otherwise, we are in a bit of trouble, all right? So looking for effects of the change in this energy source. I think it was deforestation would work. Someone brought that up. Stephanie, yeah. What are some other effects, man, of all this change in power sources? My AP World folks, we just did effects of industrialization, so you can definitely bring those up here because we should know that the increase of coal power is because of the increasing use of machines. Careful, Ions, because you're not answering the question. Give me a complete response there, Kevin. I'm there for it with pollution. But see, this is, I want you guys to give me a full response because I'm not sure we're explaining things completely. Iowans, you need to answer B in reference to the change in energy. So, I mean, we know that industrialization sort of explains that, but we still need to make sure we're answering the question. The question is not asking about historical effects of industrialization specifically. They're asking for historical effects of this change in energy source. See, we really need to work on complete responses because I'm not sure we're doing enough to earn points here. So again, for part B, I'm going to refer to the chart. They're asking me about changes in energy sources. No, the steam engine runs on coal, Caitlin. The internal combustion engine runs on oil. The combustion engine is what we have in cars today. You could discuss urbanization, though, for sure. I mean, again, but see, like the change in the phrasing doesn't, I mean, it's not that difficult, right? Like as coal is increasingly used to power machinery, more and more factories open in cities, leading to an increase in urban population. Yeah, increasing coal mining for sure, because coal was in more and more demand, was being used more and more and more. Make sure we're referring to the graph. It's driving me crazy right now. Yeah, there we go, Kevin. You could discuss public health issues too, for sure, due to the pollution. Alrighty, this is a good one. And this will be our last one before we break into work time. Again, I appreciate everyone's attention, but I assure you that your time is going to be better spent if you actually practice responding to these questions. At some point, you will have to do it on your own. So make sure we understand what the title is telling us and make sure that we identify trends. I will be right back. All right, let's break it down. All right, titles. I'm looking at population in the Americas, and I'm looking at population of Africa. All right, part A is asking me about chart 1, so population in the Americas, and it's asking me about the period 1500 to 1750. All right, and they're asking me to explain one factor behind the population change there. So the first thing that we should do is just think to ourselves, what is the graph showing us about 1500 to 1750? All right, what's happening to population in the Americas? Who can tell me that? Not a trick question. Just got to read the graph. Let's be more precise, Ayuans. Is it slightly increasing the entire time? Slight increase, I agree with in general. If I wanted to be really precise, though, I would probably say something else. I would say at first, precision matters, y'all. Precision matters. Did we notice that? What happens from 1500 to 1600? Yes. If I was to be precise, I would probably even talk about how it is decreasing and increasing. I didn't, Kaylin, that's not what I asked. 1500 to 1750. Stay focused on the task at hand. Why are we moving forward in time? All right. I'm taking this one step at a time. So to answer part A, all right, I would want to talk about how, what explains why population slightly decreases but then slightly increases, or what explains why the population, we could probably also say between 1500 and 1750, the population doesn't change that much. So why? What's my complete response for part A? Again, my APUSH and AP World folks should be able to answer part A very easily. So we could mention Europeans arriving in the Americas is definitely a part of it. I want someone to give me a complete response for A that's going to earn credit. No half responses. I'm looking for an exemplar. You only have 12 minutes on the AP exam, guys. For all three parts. We're close. Ion's even closer. Yes, more Europeans are settling to the Americas. Decreases due to disease? We can be more precise. Yeah, we're looking for why, Stephanie. Iowans has it. We just need a little bit more specifics. Yeah, we would want to talk about the indigenous population decreasing. That's what we would want. And AP World folks, I hope we're just like nervous or shy or intimidated because we should have been able to bring up the Great Dying. Period. End of story. And the Columbian Exchange. So I'm a little bit annoyed. I'm a little bit irritated. / worried for you. Yeah, freaking YouTube and their word limit, man. Yeah, I don't know. That's like a YouTube thing. I don't know what the deal is. Well, we were still on A. B is... I'll take B, though. So 1750. Oh, you were ready with that, huh, Kevin? Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. You know what I like about that, Kevin? You know what I like about it is you refer to the graph. It dramatically increases. Yes, 1715 to 1900, we have a dramatic increase. You could certainly talk about industrialization, which led to sort of wider availability of food and better medicines. You could what else is going to lead to? I kind of brought this up, but this would work as an answer for B and C. Caitlin, that response works as long as you refer to the population change, which you didn't do there. I hope because we were limited by word count. We keep on making this mistake and it's terrifying me. That's the one thing that Kevin did in his response that was really nice, is like, that is super interesting, Stephanie, and I'll take it. Yeah, you're looking at that big jump from 1800 to 1850. You could say that immigration was partly responsible for that and the gold rush. I'm there for it. That's an A-Push specific response, so AP World folks, don't worry if we weren't thinking that. There's something else that I would definitely use for C and potentially B. What else explains the wider availability of different types of food? I've already mentioned it in the last 10 minutes. Perhaps one of the most important developments in all of human history. It also explains the diseases that we already talked about. I'm kind of surprised this wasn't the first thing we thought of. Yes, Stephanie, that's a good one too. You would want to refer to the big jump from 1850 to 1900. Immigration for sure. That's an A-Push specific response, but I'm there for it. AP World folks, man, you're crushing my soul. Okay. Well, I was looking for someone to bring up the Columbian Exchange. If we're looking at population increase around this time period, the Columbian Exchange is definitely something we should bring up. That's like Stephanie, the stuff about immigration stuff is more A-Push stuff, but my AP World folks, we should have definitely been able to talk about the Columbian Exchange, 100%. I'm still sort of flabbergasted as to why it did not come up. Now, for the population of Africa, we would probably talk about how the climate exchange leads to better food sources, but at the same time, millions of enslaved Africans are leaving. And so that's why there's a slow increase. All right, so for C, I would probably talk about that. Yeah, like the wider availability of different foods is going to definitely help explain an increase of population. I would be careful, though, about your word choice, Caitlin. I think that the population grows much slower in Africa, I think largely because of the slave trade and imperialism. But you can see that after 1850, the population of Africa does increase more quickly. And that's, the slave trade has ended by that time. All right, biggest takeaway, and I would say like the biggest thing, here are my biggest takeaways from today's little whole group section. AP World, all right, we're either not confident enough or need to start reviewing because we missed some major developments. All of us need to be more deliberate about how we respond to these map and graph type questions. All right, refer to something specific in the source. All right, that should be explicit in your response. So for these charts, I would definitely want to refer to specific changes I see. There's a slight decrease between 1500 and 1600. There's a dramatic increase from 1800 to 1900. All right, I want to refer to something specific. If I had this chart on energy sources, it's the same principle. All right, I see that the use of wood decreases over time. I see that the use of coal dramatically increases. It becomes the major source of energy by 1900. Oil and gas is a new source of energy by 1900. That should be in your response somewhere if you're explaining it. Primary flow of silver. I see that the primary flow of silver is coming from the Americas, from Spanish America specifically, Latin America. It is flowing from the Americas to Europe and Asia. Lots of silver is being imported into Asia. I want to refer to something specific that I see in the map in my responses. If I don't, I might not earn the point. Same thing here. Refer to something specific. Lots of enslaved Africans are moving from West Africa to the Caribbean and to North America. All right, manufactured goods are being exported from England to North America. Materials like rice, sugar, furs are being exported from the Americas to England. You need to mention something specific if you're going to be explaining it. All right. How can you explain, what contributed to patterns in the map if you don't talk about patterns in the map? Like how do you do that? All right. And so that's the big takeaway I have here. I know that YouTube does sort of limit our responses. But that's the major takeaway if we're tackling these short answer questions with images. All right. And so next time we'll start looking at some DBQ refreshers. For the rest of class today, my APUSH folks, where'd it go? I would start putting together, where'd it go? Why did it not open? There it is. I have a bunch of time periods and I have a bunch of categories. I want you to start filling in this table. All right. The thing about the exam this year is that even though it is mostly sort of testing your skills in the free response section, it will be helpful to have a bunch of specific developments, specific topics, specific vocab, specific evidence in one place. All right. As a quick reference for the writing sections. All right. And so I would go through periods 3 through 7 is what I have here. All right. Different sort of themes are on the left-hand side. All right. And you're just sort of categorizing information based on time period. I would use those key concept handouts that I have for you in our class materials page. All right. You might also want to make a note, y'all, of all these review materials I posted for you. All right, but I did start to organize on our Teams page. Make sure that you didn't lose access to Mr. Hayes AP US History. I started a review folder that's got a bunch of stuff for you guys to do. All right, so I would start with the little cheat sheet. All right, but remember, you might want to start working through the key concepts too, all these historical developments, and being able to sort of provide examples. There's a lot of stuff, y'all, and we have a very limited time to review. So I would sort of get a schedule in mind for your review, starting to work through different time periods and then working your way up to sort of the last time period, 1945 to 1980. But busy, man. Busy. So you guys can go ahead and start your own group. I think I have it from last time. Push group 1. Can someone start that chat for me, or do I have to start it? Well, I'll go ahead and start it. Or do I have to start it? Well, I'll go ahead and start it. Sweet. All right. My AP World folks. You guys have a different task today. AP World, if you were here last time, then we're going to do the same activity, but we're going to do it with a different set of words. All right, on our Teams page, I posted the following. All right, vocabulary for 1450 to 1750. All the stuff related to European exploration. All right, what's going on in the Americas, etc. Ottoman Empire, Mughal Empire, all that good stuff. All right. I provided an example of what I'm looking for here, but again, if you were here last time, hopefully this is familiar to you. All right. So you guys can go ahead and start your small group calls and work on that. I'll be able to help you guys via the group chats. All right. So I am going to end our live stream here. All right. Make sure that you migrate over. Actually, AP World, I'm going to set it up through our Teams page. So I'm gonna have you guys all on the same call from our Teams page, the one we do our lessons in. So I'll see you guys over there. Thanks for hanging out on YouTube today.